there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Sharam Masquenius.
A very good evening to you. I am Dishan Veerakon, and we start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
The primary sections of all schools have been reopened. A further batch of 305,000 doses of Pfizer vaccine to the island. For the first time in history, the oil price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange exceeds the 10,000 limit. A national ID with latest technology to be introduced next year. The fixing of concrete slabs on the port entrance expressway begins.
On to the stories in detail now, starting off with local news. Educational activities in the primary divisions of all government and government-approved private schools have commenced today. These schools have remained closed for nearly 6 months as a result of the COVID pandemic. The Ministry of Education has taken measures recently to reopen the closed-down schools in several stages. Under the first stage of the program, academic activities in schools with less than 200 students have commenced on the 21st of this month. Under the second stage of the program, primary grade educational activities in all schools have commenced today. Cleaning of school premises has taken place in the past few days with the participation of adults, including teachers and parents. Many schools have been disinfected. For classrooms with a large number of students, it has been decided to convene only 50% of the number of students for academic studies. The Ministry of Education further says that wearing of school uniforms is not mandatory for the students. Parents have expressed their satisfaction over the ability to recommence education of their children, which has remained destabilized for a considerable period. Principals say numerous programs have been organized for the students to spend their time in schools in happiness. A pilot project to supply covers for tables in classrooms enabling the students to pursue studies with health protection has got underway from the Moratu Mahavidyalaya today. The program titled Suraksha has been organized by the Atwell Foundation. The work is being carried out under the direction of the President's office. The program has come under the supervision of the President's private secretary, Sugishwara Bandara.
Now, outgoing Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Akira Sugiyama, called on President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat today. The President commended the outgoing Japanese ambassador Sugiyama for rendering his valuable service to Sri Lanka in various ways, including his support to obtain 600,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines from the government of Japan and giving support to COVID-19 eradication process to make it a success. The Japanese ambassador informed President Rajapaksa that he would not hesitate to assist Sri Lanka at any time, strengthening the long-standing friendship between the two countries. Secretary to the President P. Vijayasundara and the Deputy Head of the Embassy of Japan, Katsuki Kotaro, were also present on the occasion.
The Colombo Stock Exchange has recorded its highest share market prices in the history today. A record figure of 10,046 units has been reported. This was the first occasion of exceeding the 10,000 limit. Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Dumit Fernando, says that the attractive nature of the listed companies has been a reason for the massive increase.
Today was a special day for the Colombo Stock Exchange. In its 36-year history, for the first time, the Colombo Stock Exchange All-Share Price Index crossed the 10,000 point mark. The market was up 132 points and ended at 10,046 today, and it also had a turnover of 6.8 billion rupees. So all in all, a very strong day for the market. We're delighted by the continued strength shown in the stock market. We've seen the stock market rise due to a number of reasons. One of the primary factors being the strong revenues and earnings displayed by the listed companies, with the second quarter revenues and earnings for companies being at a record level. Similarly, due to the low interest rate environment, we have seen a lot more activity and interest in the equity asset class. We've also seen a huge number of investors participating in the market this year. Supported by the digitalization efforts that were put into place last year, we've seen over 50,000 investors being active in the market, which is up by more than 4 times compared to a few years ago. And at valuations of 12 times price to earnings ratio, we do believe that the stock market still holds further upside in many stocks stocks. And we do encourage other investors to continue to follow the Colombo Stock Exchange closely.
Now, the Colombo Dockyard PLC has thanked Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa for his unequivocal support during the last 2 years, ensuring the dockyard to fabricate 2 ships despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, these remarks were shared when the chairman and officials of the Colombo Dockyard PLC called on the Prime Minister at the Temple Trees today. During this period, the Colombo Dockyard PLC has fabricated 2 ships, namely Alka and Shan al-Iraq, both of which are due to be handed over to the Iraqi government on November 4th, earning $35 million. Another high-tech ship valued at $45 million is currently being built for the Orange Marine Company in France, and once completed, it will be the second largest ship to be built at the Colombo Dockyard. The Prime Minister was invited by the Colombo Dockyard to join the handing over of the group of 6 eco-friendly ships that are currently being built at the Colombo Dockyard on behalf of the government of Norway. The Colombo Dockyard is expected to generate $100 million by 2021 and $120 million by 2022. The Prime Minister took note that both regional branches are expected to create substantial employment opportunities, and the Additional Secretary to the Prime Minister, Chaminda Kulratna, and the Chairman of the Colombo Dockyard PLC, Hideaki Tanaka, were present at this occasion.
Train transport restricted to the province has commenced today. General Manager of the Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, says that the services are being operated according to the health guidelines. 133 train journeys have taken place today. Only railway season ticket holders are allowed to travel in trains. Our TV crew have witnessed how passengers have arrived in office trains to Colombo Fort today. The Department of Railways says that there has been a somewhat decrease in the number of passengers. Sri Lanka has received a further batch of 350 doses of US-manufactured Pfizer vaccine today. They were brought to the island in an aircraft QR666 of Qatar Airlines. Later on, the stocks were transferred to the National Blood Transfusion Centre in Narayanpeta and to the cold rooms in the Central Vaccine Depot. A total of 28,144,463 vaccine doses have been inoculated under the COVID-19 immunization program thus far. A total of 14,987,889 persons have received the first dose of the vaccine, while 13,156,574 have received both doses thus far. A total of 21,746 vaccine doses have been administered yesterday. A total of 412 COVID patients were identified from the country today. Accordingly, the number of active cases in the country have increased up to 19,153. A total of 315 recoveries were reported today, increasing the overall tally to 503,703. The Director General of Health Services has reported today 29 COVID-19 related deaths which occurred yesterday. 22 out of them were those above the age of 60 years. The number of victims between the ages of 30 to 59 years is 6. The Sri Lanka National Chamber of Commerce says that the business places should be maintained according to the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. The Colombo National Hospital says that the number of COVID-19 patients in the hospital has been decreased substantially. The government of Singapore has taken measures to relax travel restrictions imposed on several countries, including Sri Lanka, with effect from tomorrow. Accordingly, the citizens in Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka are allowed to enter Singapore.
Director General of the State Intelligence Service, Suresh Sali, has submitted a complaint to the Department of Criminal Investigation today in protest over the malicious accusations launched by a group including Reverend Father Cyril Gamini over the Easter Sunday attack. Now, according to the complaint, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini was reported to have stated his opinions regarding the Easter Sunday attack in a dialogue conducted through Zoom technology on the 23rd of this month. The complainant said the Reverend Father has stated that Major General Sali, who was a brigadier, had contributed actively for the nurturing of the leader of the National Tawheed Jamaat organization, Zaharan Hashim, and his followers. The Reverend Father was reported to have stated that the Sri Lankan intelligence divisions had provided financial and other essential assistance to this group of terrorists. Major General Sali has sternly rejected the accusations, saying that all fabricated charges have been levelled with the intention of discrediting him. The ulterior motive of all charges appears to be misguide the general public, to deliberately damage his reputation, as well as to put danger towards his life as well as the lives of the members of his family. According to the complaints, these false accusations have caused an irreparable damage on the intelligence division as well as on the intelligence officials who are engaged in an exceptional task to consolidate the national security. The Director General of the State Intelligence Division has reiterated that he had never engaged in any form of communication with Zahran Hashim or his followers. Major General Saleh, in his complaint, has also requested the Department of Criminal Investigations to take proper legal action against Reverend Father Cyril Gamini and others who had participated in the forum.
Minister Namal Rajapaksa says that national identity cards made out of highest technology will be introduced by next year. The minister has made these observations at the unveiling of the Lanka QR service today. The organizer of the program is the Department of Payments and Recoveries of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The new program enables to engage in monetary transactions through the digital technology QR codes. State Ministers Kanchana Wijesekara and D.V. Chanaka and the Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Kabral have also participated in the inauguration ceremony.
The real purpose of Lanka QR is to have it and make it universal. If it is universal, we will have a large number of benefits. Those benefits are benefits that we should all enjoy as a country. So in that context, what we are doing today is to popularize it and to ensure that everyone gets connected to this system so that we can go forward with greater confidence. We all know that digitalization is the new buzzword in the world, not only in Sri Lanka, all over the world. We see digitalization as being one of the key cornerstones of business and economic affairs. And if it is going to be made popular in Sri Lanka, like what it has been done in so many other countries, we need to embrace it. We need to be comfortable with digitalization. Perhaps that is why the President has chosen a young, energetic minister to be in charge of digitalization. And I'm sure he would be able to generate the enthusiasm so that more people, the young people of this country, would embrace it with seamlessly. And to do that, we have to have the systems in place. Digitalization looks good when you look at it. So in any system that you see as being a seamless system, there is a section of people who are working furiously to ensure that it takes place on the same basis. So we have to work hard at that. We have to make sure that these systems are fast, that these are accurate, that these are online, that these provide the space for virtual transactions to take place in a seamless manner. It must be convenient. It has to happen at every level of our society. We are also keen to ensure that remittances that come into Sri Lanka are also able to be sent in a very convenient manner.
Minister Namal Rajapaksa said that in the first quarter of the next year, they will take measures for the digitalization of the national identity card. Accordingly, the people in the country will be provided with a national ID card in line with the highest technology in today's world. The new NIC would enable to fulfill the requirements via biometrics procedure. The minister also said that they will also commence the relevant programs next year for the profiling of health card, fertilizer card and the agriculture card. He added that many institutions already use the digital signature. By now, the general public is able to receive their copies of certificates of birth, death and marriage via the internet. With the obtaining of the digital signature, it would not be necessary to go to the Divisional Secretariat Division's offices.
Now, the installation of the pre-concrete segments in the expressway leading to the Colombo Harbour has commenced today. This part of the highway extends from the Ingurukade junction to the Galle-faced port city. This is a novel methodology being implemented for the first time of the history of the country. 3,279 concrete blocks are to be used in the harbour entrance expressway. Now, this roadway is a permanent remedy to the heavy traffic congestion at the entrance of the Colombo commercial city. The Road Development Authority is in charge of construction. Ministers Johnston Fernando and Rohitabe Gunawardena and State Minister Nimal Lanza were also present on the occasion of fixing concrete slabs on the bridge. The entire length of the expressway is 5.3 kilometers. It is comprised of 4 inter-exchange points and 4 lanes. The cost of the project exceeds 28 billion rupees. This portion of the expressway is scheduled to be joined with the new Kalani Bridge. It has also been planned to construct a new building with 17 stories in place of the buildings to be dismantled in the harbour premises in order to facilitate the construction of the expressway. The cost of this project would exceed 4 billion rupees.
Farmers in Madhavachia have commenced paddy cultivations. They are engaged in their cultivations, acknowledging a pledge given by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa that necessary organic fertilizer stocks will be delivered expeditiously. The farmers are willingly engaged in cultivations using organic fertilizer. They believe that chemical fertilizer has contributed to an increase in the number of kidney patients in the Madhavachia. The farmers further say that time has come for crop produce without poisonous substances through the application of organic manure. There is an inclination of farmers themselves manufacturing their organic fertilizer requirements. Some of the farmers were reported to have not yet received their organic fertilizer stocks, but the farmers say that they are extending their support to the organic farming program. Farmers in the Alahara settlement have also commenced paddy cultivation in the March season using organic fertilizer.
Now, the Chancellor of the Rajarat University, Venerable Dr. E. Talavattunweve Gnanathilaka says that the program being carried out by the government to consolidate public life amidst challenges should be viewed with goodwill, devoid of hatred. The government should be commended for continuously engaging in development activities and the payment of salaries of government servants in spite of economic collapses. Now, the Venerable Thayer has made these remarks at a ceremony of the Rajarata University today. Now, the event was held in connection with the laying of foundation stone to a new green building of the Faculty of Technology in the Sri Lanka Rajarata University today. A sum of 5 billion rupees is expected to be spent on the project for construction and procurement of necessary equipment through special mediation of the President. The proposed faculty building is scheduled to be used for research purposes under the Saubhagya Dakman national policy to expand technology. Chancellor of the Rajarata University, Venerable Dr. E. Talavattunweve Gnanathilaka said that at a time when everybody is scolding the government headed by the President and the Prime Minister, he wished to state several facts which should not receive any scolding. He said that the President has allocated 30,000 lakhs of rupees for the Rajarata University. The Venerable Thayer added that the President has also reserved 87,000 lakhs of rupees for the construction of the North Central Maha-Ala project, which irrigates 1,400 reservoirs. He also said that a further 48,000 lakhs of rupees have been allocated for the carrying of water from the Bulgahakanda reservoir to the Kiramadu reservoir.
The final rites on the remains of the late Chandrashan Pereira, who rendered an immense service to the Sri Lankan rugby, has taken place today. He was 62 years of age at the time of his demise. Chandrashan Pereira received his preliminary education from St. Peter's College, Bamlapitia. He was also engaged in higher education in England. He has contributed an immense service to the sport of rugby in Sri Lanka, representing the Sri Lanka rugby national team for a period of nearly a decade. During this period, he had secured several international level victories to Sri Lanka. Chandrashan Pereira, in several occasions, have functioned as a physical fitness trainer of the Sri Lanka cricket team as well. He has also functioned as the coach of the Sri Lanka national women's 7-a-side rugby team. His untiring efforts in the connection had enabled Sri Lanka to rise to the 5th place in the Asian rugby. Chandrashan has been indisposed for a considerable period. A rugby match had been organised in 2019 to felicitate Chandrashan Pereira. His services spanning 4 decades as a rugby player, trainer, administrator and commentator have been most commendable. He was awarded the Krida Bhushana Award at the 2019 Presidential Sports Awards Festival in recognition of his services.
Well, that's a wrap of tonight's primetime news bulletin here at Rupavahini ChannelEye. And until we meet again next time, do take care, stay safe and good night.